Kickstarting our journey, we're diving into the world of sustainable fashion, a space where creativity meets responsibility and style is just as much about preserving the planet as it is about looking good. Get ready to meet these guests that are leading the charge to sustainability by ensuring that the future is as stylish as it is green. Let's meet our guests. This is Xolile Mabuza.
Hi, I'm Xolile Mabuza, a founder of Tendalo Trading, a company that specializes in repurposing old rubber tubes from cars, trucks, tractors by recycling and upcycling them into beautiful, eco-friendly, durable, waterproofed, and ethically sourced bags.
Later, I am Vusumuzi Ndima, founder of the Boys of Soweto. My business redefines African menswear, blending sophisticated style with street culture. It's about expression, heritage, and confidence.
So good to see you guys. Are you well though?
Be good, man.
Good. Let's get right into the thick of things. Where did it all start? How did we find ourselves to where we are today?
I'm from a village outside Mbombela called Msokwaba. I grew up like in Pinar. So Pinar is like the biggest village. It has villages within itself. So I just like moved from one part of the village, which is Danji, to another part of the village, which is Msokwaba. 2018, like I remember, it was a very unfortunate time in my life. I suffered stroke and I basically needed to relearn everything, relearn how to walk, how to talk, how to use my hands. When I started like walking again, I made the trip to the shop, bought my bread. Between our house and the shop, there's like our local mechanic. So he had dumped all his rubber tubes outside the shop.
Oh
and I did not know why I chose to pick one particular rubber tube. It was a rubber tube from a motorbike. It then became a thing that I wake up and I go collect the rubber tubes, come back, wash them until they piled up. So I was so attached to them, I had to keep them, and the only way to keep them was to use them. I started making earrings, but because some rubber tubes are bigger, I started exploring different bag designs. They were promising. I was like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Sure. This Xolile is giving us a whole new meaning to go get that bread. But Vus,
Yes, sir.
where did it all start? How did it all culminate to what we see today?
After high school, I worked in retail, and that's when I got to learn about fashion, about styling, more importantly, you know. And I worked in call center, and I remember in call center, I would talk with my colleagues, we'd just have conversations. I would tell them, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to do. I want to start a brand, I'm going to do this, I want to do that. And I think one day the universe was listening and it kicked me out, right? And it was a rude awakening, because in Pelele Spani, where I was told that I was going to be permanent, and started there. I knew Guti, I wanted to be a stylist, and I had to create a portfolio. Started taking pictures of myself, started taking pictures of my friends. I would style them, right? And while I was doing that, I was thrifting. I would style them, take pictures, then send them to the people that I wanted to style. And got introduced to a lady called Jody, right? Because I wanted to tap into the fashion industry. And the first thing for me was to being a stylist. Jody took me in. I interned for her, kind of worked for like a period of a year. From then, I grew within that space. I started doing my own gigs. The first gig that she gave me, I styled Imakam, and I styled my homies, right? Because I had 3 friends and we used to go thrift, so we used to sell impahla. Decided, actually, why don't we coin ourselves, right? I started the group, Boys of Soweto. And the goal was to really showcase the style, because I felt at that time, fashion, especially in the mainstream, the males were not properly represented. I wasn't inspired, right? So we'd take pictures, upload it on Tumblr. This is 2011, 2012. So I navigated between starting this brand, pushing the brand, and entering into the fashion industry. Right, I got an introduction to the fashion industry. I styled magazines, I styled movies, I've styled series, I've done shows, I've worked with Bongs as well.
You've dressed me.
I've dressed Black Coffee, a whole lot, right? So there was a journey from 2010 until date. So that's the story of Boys of Soweto.
There seems to be so much intention in what you guys experienced and how you guys navigated your journeys. I'm going to go back to you, Sis Xolile. You suffered a stroke You literally could have said, yeah, I've tried most, and this is what life has given me. These are lemons that I'm not going to use to make lemonade. What keeps you going?
So the beautiful thing that has ever happened to me is my family. I grew up like spending a lot of my time with my grandmother, who was a seamstress and a designer. And she really loved me. She cooked for me every day I'd come back from school. So I felt connected. I felt like this business that I'm doing, even though it's not like making money, I'm not making money, it's not giving me anything right now. It is giving me back the connection I had with my grandmother. And I just had to hold on to that.
Sure. Oof, getting chills. Vus,
Yes, sir.
what was that one turning moment, that breakthrough moment where you knew, Guti, Boys of Soweto actually is doing things and it's going somewhere? What was that one turning moment?
Two things. I was freelancing as a fashion stylist, right? I've got a bond and I'm looking at the rent of pop up, and they were asking for like something like 12. Like, how am I gonna make this cash, right? And there was a voice like, just do it.
Just do it.
I did that, and on that Sunday when I did that pop-up, I made a revenue that could cover me for 6 months.
And that's all you need,
so like,
dog.
done.
We're out of the ghetto.
And the plan was to do a pop-up, test it out. But right now, the store is still running till date from 2021.
Sure.
Yeah.
And there you have it from our entrepreneurs. But I want to find out what's cooking oil there by the streets. Let's go.
Hello everybody, this is Ndima, and we are in the streets of Braamfontein. We're here to find out if the cool kids understand what entrepreneurship is. Follow me. What do you know about entrepreneurship?
Entrepreneurship is basically being a business owner,
So what do you have in mind in terms of you starting up a business?
What I have in mind, that's a creative way. I think a really good way is to work with other entrepreneurs, For example, if there's a lot of people who have a lot of clothing businesses, I haven't seen a lot of South African retail stores that just incorporates South African brands.
Colin, want to take us through what your business is and what inspired you to start your business?
Cleaning up dustbins within the neighborhood, the community. So then basically it's just doing what people don't want to do. Everybody wants to study, become a doctor or that. At the end, there'll be no jobs for everybody. So do what other people aren't willing to do, and there's coins in there.
Thank you so much, Musa. Thank you so much, Colin. That was really insightful. Man, thank you, Ndalo.
Let's shift gears and talk about those I grew it moments, those milestones that come after all of that hard work. You have been at it for over a decade.
Yes, sir.
I went to Rosebank, I think, the other day, and I realized you now have opened a Section A egg,
Under
right?
egg, yeah.
I was like, what? We're here now, So what would you say is your I grew it moment?
Okay. I'd say 2017, I got a gig with an alcohol brand. So I was the face of this brand for 3 years all over Africa. And I remember telling myself, Guti, like I'm gonna put this money into this project, and more to fast forward, I'm like, oh, so now I've made a bar. That's crazy. And I grew it instead of blowing it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Uti, in a space of 4 years, you only sold 21 bags, all right? And I know how demotivating that can be. When was that I grew it moment for you?
My moments were last year when my bags were sold in the stores. Then the French embassy came. The French embassy was like, you know what, Ne, top 12. You're going to be there, and we're taking you to France to showcase your business. And I was like, Tendalo Bags, like, we are going to France. Then they said yes, and the government also around that time when I was preparing for France, I was so happy about Paris. They came and they were like, you are part of the 30 businesses that we chose to go to represent the SMMEs in London. And I became, in the top 30 businesses, I was like one of the businesses that got the opportunity to be in a panel discussion with the who's and who's in the UK.
Wow.
And I was like, oh my goodness, what is happening? Then I came back home and I was selected for the Ashford Prize. I met Prince of Wales, Prince William, and he said, I want a bag. And then I was like, all these moments, I just saw them together, all of them, because they happened in 1 year.
Sure.
And in that year, in a short space in that year, I sold 1,021 bags. So like 1,000 more bags compared to the 4 years, not in like the entire year. And I was like, you know what, Ne? I've grown it.
You grew it.
It's just like blossoming everywhere.
Xolile and Vusi have put a fire under my bum. My goodness, you can think it, but you have to see it also. And once you've thought it and seen it, you must put in the action so that you can laugh and say, I definitely grew it. Woo! Every great success starts with a single step. Whether you're starting your journey or you're leveling up. What you need to do, though, is keep learning, keep growing. And when you look back, you'll proudly say, I grew it. We'll see you next time.
Ooh.